The Boss Mom podcast is a supportive space for mothers, whether expecting, new, or seasoned, wearing multiple hats, corporate babes, entrepreneurs, or serial workers, to come together, uplift each other, and discuss our challenges and celebrate our wins. With that being said, all right, Boss Moms, let the movement begin. Hey, Boss Moms. Welcome back to the Boss Mom Movement podcast with your host, Ashley White. I want to thank you ladies for joining me for yet another episode. Hope you all had a great week. I know I did. I had a pretty anxious week. I am at week 36, and I am so ready for him to come. Like, I know I shouldn't be speeding up the process. Everybody keeps telling me, like, don't rush it. Like, he'll be here before you know it. Like, enjoy your time. But I'm also like, I'm ready to see my little guy and, you know, get my body back, get some comfortable sleep, because I'm definitely in those stages of not being comfortable, even with my mommy pillow and everything. But yeah, you know, I'm just enjoying this week and counting down the days. But this episode, I wanted to bring light towards living your step life. So all my bonus moms, stepmoms out there, this one is for you. And I do have a guest today, Miss Eboni, and her Instagram is at Living Your Step Life. So definitely follow her, ladies. She has some great advice and great tips, and she blogs about her experience. So if you're ever looking for, you know, any advice or tips, her page is definitely a great go-to. But I want to give her the opportunity to introduce herself.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for inviting me here. Again, my name is Eboni, and I'm with Living My Step Life. And just like you, I started off really not knowing exactly what I wanted this platform to be, and it evolved into something bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. I started off as a bonus mom, stepmom. Everybody has all the different names. I have no idea which name I choose. I'm just here living my step life. Okay.
That's right.
And I was just having so much difficulty navigating how to live my step life. And I found it very difficult to have people to talk to. Mm-hmm. I think that many people have a perception of what a stepmom or a step parent is supposed to do in the roles that they are supposed to have. Mm-hmm. I am a little bit of a unique situation. I am a full-time step parent, which means that and I just call her daughter. I don't say stepchild, but it is okay if most people do, but mm-hmm. My daughter lives with us full time, and navigating that process. I was a single woman, no children, lived up, and all of a sudden I'm married with a child, and I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, and how long? Because, so for my listeners, Eboni and I used to work together, and we're able to form a friendship from there. And I feel like that was so, like,
it feels so
long ago. Yeah. And I feel like ever since I've known you, mm-hmm. you have been with your husband. I know y'all weren't married when we first met, but you mm-hmm. were still, you know, you had a relationship with his daughter and stuff like. Yes. So I'm just wondering, like, how that. I mean, I know you just said you were living your single life, and mm-hmm. then it's just like, boom, like, oh,
I woke up and I was like, what in the world what in the world is going on? I was actually the very first woman that he introduced her to. Mm. And so that experience was amazing because she had no one to compare me to.
That's true.
Mm. It was awesome. I think for both of us, we were excited. Mm-hmm. She has this cool person and I'm playing the friend.
Right.
And I can do all the cool, fun things as a parent, but not really being a parent. Mm-hmm. But after years of being married and living in a house together and having to set those rules.
Yeah.
That that became a little difficult.
Because I feel like he said, okay, you start off as the fun person
Yes,
in your life, right?
yes.
And then now it's like a switch. Like,
A
oh,
switch,
now
yep.
you're disciplining me now?
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
how to
And
respond to that.
I don't know. And I don't know who you talking to, but this is
Right.
me and my daddy's house.
Okay. Or you're not my mom, you know,
Yes.
especially with girls. I feel.
Oh my gosh, and their attitudes and they're just trying to figure it out just as much as the step parent is. So one piece of advice that I would give to any step parent is give yourself and your stepchild grace.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure it out. They've been used to a certain lifestyle with their biological parents.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as they love you and they want you in their life, I have come to know this to be true.
Mm-hmm.
They want to feel loyal to that biological parent that's not in the home.
Yep.
And it takes time and it takes really honest conversations to let them know that it's okay to love mommy, daddy, or we're living in an inclusive time, so I shouldn't say that, but it's okay to love parent and parent
Mm-hmm.
in addition to step parent. That doesn't take away love, but that takes time. And going through that adjustment period is no joke.
Yeah, when I was which I've mentioned this on my show before, like my parents aren't married.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was younger, like there was a time where they were both dating and I wasn't even a preteen yet, I don't think. So that was hard for me because like you said, being loyal to the biological parents, like I'm like, oh no, who is this? Who are you bringing around? And granted, like my parents did not bring people around like that, but I do remember there was a time. My mom probably gonna.
I'm nervous.
But there was a time, my dad was dating, and I wasn't really fond of the situation. Once I had known or realized what was really taking place, because I didn't know, like it didn't really click to me. I just thought, okay, this is daddy's friend. She had kids, they were older than me. I kind of like looked up to them. But then like once I had caught on, I was just like, oh wait, this could potentially be. Now granted, he wasn't talking about marrying or anything like that. It was just me like, oh wait, this could potentially be a stepmom situation, and I instantly just
your defenses go up.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm like, oh no, not my mom. And she never tried to discipline me or anything like that. But it was kind of just like that side eye, like, okay, this is not what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And now I'm like looking around like, okay, where's my mom? And I just wasn't feeling that situation at all.
And you know what? Most stepchildren feel that way. Step parents have a bad rap. I just feel like no matter what, you go into a situation with already preconceived notions against you.
Mm-hmm.
You have the biological parent, the other biological parent that hates you just because you're there and they think that you're taking their place, and then you have the child who thinks that you're taking away their biological parent, and everyone thinks that you're going to be this evil and mean monster.
Right.
And I think that was the situation for me. And when it came out that, man, wow, she is really cool. And I kind of like her, but I don't want her to know that I like her.
Yeah.
But now I can't help but to let her know that I really like her. And I just truly believe in honest conversations. It becomes very uncomfortable, but it's needed. And it will help all parties that are involved. Absolutely. I remember when I first came, and when I spoke to my daughter's biological mother, the first thing that I said is, I'm not trying to be a replacement parent. That's not my goal, and that's not my mission. But I want to be the best parent.
Absolutely.
And because I am a step parent, society put limits on what you can and can't, or what they think you should and shouldn't be doing. And that became challenging for me because I knew that there were certain things that my role needed to fulfill in her life.
Mm-hmm.
But because many people say, oh, you're just a step parent, you should be the fun person, or you're just the person who's just coming in her life, wait a little while. But I knew what my purpose was. I had already been told, and sorry to bring in religion if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had already been told by God why I was even in both of their lives. So I knew my mission from the beginning. And when people say things like that, it makes you feel limited, and it makes you feel bad, and it makes you feel very glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do try to do anything outside of just being fun and happy and skipping in a park, holding hands, then oh, you're not what society says. And so I had to learn, and it took me years. I feel like it took me the first year to just figure everything out.
Yeah.
The second year, it took me time to figure out me and my identity in being a step parent.
Right.
And now in this third year, I'm living my step life. I, don't need to be defined by societal standards of what step parenting looks like. And I can finally say that I am comfortable in the things that I feel. We can address some of the situations that maybe physically, that not physically in a way of like physically, but what I mean, there are situations that step parents face, maybe having to have conversations with biological parents or having to have conversations with step parents. But no one addresses the mental that step parents go through. It is mentally exhausting a lot of times to be step parents because you're overthinking everything. Whereas, Ashley, I'm sure with your son, when he does something, it would be second nature for you to talk to your son and no one questions it. Whereas if that is your stepchild, you think twice, 3 times, 5 times. Should I say something? Should I not say something? Do I need to wait to the parent? When do I say it? How do I say it? When do I say it? You question everything, and it takes away the authenticity of what you even want to say. And then you become insecure, you become doubtful, all because you just wanted to say, hey, turn off the lights.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. Like, but one thing, I like, as you were talking, I was thinking about, I don't like societal norms. I've done a show on that. You have to do what's best for you and your household. And one thing you mentioned earlier is that she lives with you all full time. So, granted, I'm not a stepmom and I'm not, living in that situation. However, that's your house. And I feel like, just my opinion, you have every right, to say. Now, granted, of course, speaking with her dad and everything like that.
Of course.
But setting those rules and, those boundaries. And so I think that kind of plays a part too. Like, of course, yes, she still has her mother to step in and provide discipline and everything like that. But at the same time, about the things that go under your roof, I feel like you should be able to. But I get what you mean by, tiptoeing and, making sure, okay, I don't want to overstep. And
I agree. Ashley, I was just going to say one mindset that I developed literally 3 months ago is my house, my rules. It is so uncomfortable. And I think that I've been living like this, and I can only blame myself. I've been tiptoeing around a house that I pay mortgage on, and that's not fun. It is not comfortable, and it's not comfortable for anybody. And that doesn't mean that I'm, the wicked witch of the West. That just means that there are expectations that whether I'm a biological parent or if I'm a step parent or if I'm a grandparent. They're just standards that I have and that I want and that are okay to implement.
Right. No,
And I give
I
myself
agree.
permission to implement it.
I agree. Like my boyfriend, so he actually had guardianship over his teenage sister, and she just graduated, but she was living with us full time. And I had come into the picture later in terms of living together, but we did live together for a year with her. And so we would, get into it because he's like, you got to be more assertive and stuff. And I'm like, listen, and granted, I mean, neither one of us are her parent, but of course legally he was acting as a parent. And then, I just live here, even though me and him aren't married, but me and him had rules and expectations on, her living with us and things that she should do. But I just could not bring myself, like, it would be so hard for me to even just be like, hey, come do the dishes. And he would just be like, are you serious? And I'm just like, look, I mean, like you say, I'm used to like being the fun. I'm big sister, right? Because we're not even parents. And I'm like that. So I can, just slightly relate because I know it's different being, a parent, but just even being like that bonus person in, a kid's life. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to say that. And I don't want to say it like that. Like, but it would be times where I would, try to be a little firm, like, hey, okay, do this, do that, or whatever, but like still being respectful to
yes.
I definitely feel like that's important as well. But girl, I just
but you know what, I can understand that. And I think what I had to finally realize is, number one, my husband thought enough of me to be able to help be someone to ground her and raise her. And the ideas and the thoughts and my foundation is something that agrees with him and something that he believes in enough to be around his daughter to raise her. So I had to be okay with that. And I would ask in the beginning, is it okay if I say this? Is it okay if I say that? And he would always say, my expectation is for you to be a parent. And if I'm not around, I expect for you to do just what a parent would do. I need to feel comfortable that you would be able to do that. Yeah. And that meant like, wow, man, that opened my eyes. I don't have time to be timid. If she needs something taken care of, I need to just do it. Right. And I need to act. And now that doesn't mean overstepping boundaries in a way where I'll take her out of school or something without anyone knowing, I wouldn't do anything like that, but I will ask if it's okay if I did that, just because I just want to show that respect that I am a parent, but I understand I am also not the biological parent, and I wanna respect that to both parties. But I think that once you get comfortable in your own skin and once you get comfortable in your role, it becomes a little bit easier to ask to do dishes, right? Because it is, you're right, it is scary. It's like, could you please just
It's like, I don't know how they're gonna react to it, because then it's like, oh wow, if this goes left, how is this gonna play out?
And then it goes back to that overreacting where you're like, should I ask? Well, no, I'm being petty. Let me just wash the dishes.
Exactly.
And then nothing goes unsaid. But then, Ashley, after so many years of washing that same bowl that they never washed, it gets old. Okay. Yeah. You get irritated, and then it's just gonna come out one day. why don't you ever wash this stupid
Right,
dish? I
right.
am not a maid, and everybody is looking at you like,
What
what
the
just happened?
heck? Right. It's like all that built up
All
animosity
of it
when you
built
could have
up,
just
cause
said, hey.
and it wasn't even a big deal. But I think that after I found myself doing that for so long, when I finally gave myself permission to ask and gave myself permission to feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just say, hey, would you wash the dish? It was like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize I put it in there. Sure.
Yeah.
And here I was stressing over it all night and all day, and they
Right.
just did it. After that one incident, it made it easier to ask for more things or to say, now we have conversations. Hey, this is all of our home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for all of us to take care of our home. So we can't just rely on me
Right.
to wash the clothes, wash the dishes, cook, clean, picking up from school. I can't do it all. And as much as I want to, it's not fair to me. So I am going to ask you to clean up your mess. And then here it is. I want her to become a responsible adult.
Yeah, that too, because that's really what it is. It's like I'm not just asking you to do this
Yeah,
for my health. Like this is something that's going to help you as well. It's called
exactly.
responsibility,
Yeah.
and you're not always going to be under this roof.
Yep.
So these are things
Exactly.
that you do have to learn. So yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's what chores are all about anyway, right? At least that's what my mom said
Exactly.
growing up.
It don't get me wrong. Look, it does help me, but yes, chores
Right,
are
right.
all about.
Pulling some weight around the house,
Yeah.
but these are tasks that you're gonna need to know once you leave.
Yes,
So,
yes, and
so
so I make it a priority to teach her how to wash clothes, how to separate clothes, teach her how to sweep the floor, because kids like to just mush things in the
mm-hmm,
floor in the room. So I just use that as an opportunity for us to bond. I try my best to prep dinner.
mm-hmm,
I'm noticing she likes to help a little bit more in the kitchen. So I'll make foods where she can cut up the onions or cut up whatever. Or I'm teaching her how to season food.
mm-hmm.
And that gives us time to bond and time to talk. But it also helps her to learn those life skills that she needs to know. And she's not growing up being a privileged child with no experience, and it's just like,
Right,
well, yeah, my stepmom did everything for me because she was too scared to ask me to do
right.
anything.
I didn't have to do anything at the house.
Yeah,
I was living my best life.
exactly. So I just see it as that. It's not only helping me, but it's also teaching her.
Mm-hmm. And one important thing you said was that you all are getting a chance to bond, and I think also, being a bonus parent, it's like you're trying to figure out, okay, do I just be fun or do I add discipline to that? But I think having that healthy balance,
Yeah,
definitely helps the relationship with the
yeah,
child, because then, they can look at you like the Wicked Witch of the West,
yeah.
but then it's like hard to do that when the person is not like that, at least all the time. Like, granted, there are times where, yes, you are going to have to be firm, put your foot down about certain things, but having that healthy balance of, okay, yeah, we still have a relationship. We can bond, we can go to the movies, we can hang out, but at the same time, you also respect me as parent in the household. So I think that that's definitely important in just being a kid, or I'm not a kid anymore, but growing up,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
parents wasn't married, there was an opportunity for either of my parents to say, hey, I want to get married to someone else, and
Mhm.
it could have been an opportunity where I did have a step parent, and just, looking back on that, I would have had to get out of that whole, okay, you're not my dad, you're not my mom.
Yeah.
Eventually I would have. It was just in that moment I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know. And
exactly.
I was young, but
Yeah.
that would have been important to me. Like, just knowing that I had a balance, and that they weren't just on one side of the fence, whether it be that they was just a fun person, because yeah, I would have needed some discipline, if I
Agreed.
was
Agreed.
living in your household, but I would have wanted you to, be both ways, you know. Show me some
Agreed.
fun. Let's have a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people have or kids have those bonus situations where there is no relationship, you
Yes.
know, and it's just the bonus person may be more just focused on the relationship with their spouse as opposed to the relationship with the child for whatever reason, whether it's they're, you know, afraid to be assertive or feel like that's not their place to, you know, have a relationship with the kid, or maybe it's just a tainted relationship. They tried and it just didn't work out. But I definitely think, you know, becoming a family, especially if the child is living there full time, that is important to definitely have that balance. So I do like to see that, you know, and I
Yeah.
see that your relationship with her is so cute.
Oh man, oh thank you. And we have a good relationship, and that took a lot of effort. I do want to acknowledge that not everyone's situation is like mine. So I understand that even with all the effort that a step parent may put into the relationship, there are just some stepchildren that are very influenced by uh, biological parents that are just not healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
And
unfortunate.
and it's really unfortunate because they're just missing out on the opportunity to get to know someone else who can help to mentor and shape their life. That's really all it is. And really, I just want to encourage every step parent that the relationship of your stepchild or the relationship with your stepchild, I don't want you to put so much pressure on yourself about that, because there are other influences that can influence that. And unfortunately, there sometimes they're not all positive. And I do think that happened with my stepchild. But the one thing that I can say is that what is the saying? You draw more bees with honey than vinegar. And I continue to be myself. My husband continued to reinforce certain things in our household. And what I mean by that is we don't tolerate disrespect with adults in authority. Now, I don't handle difficult conversations. I don't handle difficult disciplinary actions. I let the biological parents do that. But if there are minor things that need to be done, if there are minor conversations that need to happen, I will take care of those if it happens in my presence. But I try to let them be the quote unquote bad guys,
Right.
and I just try to remain consistent. One thing I also want to say is to set really early on is boundaries, because we're just so excited about this relationship and we just want so desperately this stepchild to like us. We will do anything and we will go anywhere and we will be anyone that they want us to be. And then that's not fair to us as a step parent, because now I'm creating this expectation that I can't even meet. And then when I go back to being myself, the stepchild is like, well, where is this person that I've been used to?
Right.
And then you have to reintroduce yourself again, and that is just, it's not fun. It's uncomfortable, and then they feel like you set me up.
Yeah.
So it's best to go in being yourself, being real, having those authentic conversations. And where I messed up is just please having open conversations with your partner about everything.
How do you mess
Everything.
up?
I didn't do it. I felt like I could handle it. I felt like I didn't want to be a tattletale, or I didn't want to seem weak, or I didn't want to. And so I allowed a lot of different things that I don't think I should have allowed. And I accepted a lot of different feelings that I didn't have to accept. Actually, I don't want to be a stressed out stepmom. And I was stressing out over the dumbest things. All I had to do was just talk about it.
Yeah.
If I want the dishes to be put up, I just need to just talk about it. You guys,
Mm-hmm.
let's put the dishes up. You
Yeah.
know, but if I'm harboring everything because I'm trying to be the fun person, then who does it really hurt?
Yeah. And I
Me.
think sometimes you go into it too, like you want the kid to like you, right? Or the kid.
Yes.
And so just saying, okay, I just need to be the fun person because you're just so stressed out about them not liking you or accepting you. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a genuine person anyway, like that matters to you, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially if you are coming into a situation where you do care about your relationship, not only with your spouse but with their child as well, because I'm pretty sure like that's important to your husband as well, that you all have your own relationship,
That is
right? And
correct.
so it's like that can be, like you said, that mental stress when you sitting here trying to figure out, okay, I really do want to discipline you on some of these things, but I don't know if it's going to be worth it because then we might not have a relationship. You might be looking at me like, oh, I don't like her, you know?
Yeah. But
So,
you know,
yeah, that's
they say this all the time, but kids really do like discipline. They may not like it in that moment, but kids like structure, they like discipline, and they know what to expect.
mm-hmm.
So it me coming in at first, my game plan was to be myself because I think I'm a pretty cool person. I think I'm pretty
You
fun.
are.
Why, thank you. Why, thank you. And I just came into it like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to introduce me. I'm going to introduce the stuff that I like to do
Mm-hmm.
because, my husband and daughter are very, what's the word? They're very straight line. And I am a curve all over. Okay.
You're the wild card.
I'm the wild card. Yes. And so I just came into it as though I'm just going to show them my world.
Mm-hmm.
And as they allow me to get into their world, they can show me theirs. But until then, I'm just going to be myself. And now what I do, I'm learning her likes and dislikes. I mean, she's a human being. She's going to change,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's expected. So I have to continuously learn her and pay attention to her. And she's my family, so I make her my priority and know what she's into. And I make the time to sit down and watch TV with her. And even though I don't like all the TV shows, I'm still turn on whatever that TV show is we was watching, yesterday. And I
Right.
ask questions so she can talk to me about it. And that's how we build that bond. And I make sure we have girls' day out where we go
Uh-huh.
and get our nails done and maybe pick a fun restaurant. And I also make sure that they still have daddy-daughter time. So I may say something to my husband, you guys haven't been out together in a while. Maybe it's time to go, you
Right.
know, hang out together. I still try to make sure that they have their relationship and not let it that you know, um, I don't want their relationship to fizzle just because I'm trying to build a relationship with her.
Right.
We're all one unit. We are together, and we're more powerful together than we are separate. So I want to make sure that happens.
Absolutely. One cool thing about your family, though, is that you all are about to be a blended family.
Yeah. And so
So,
I'm joining you.
yes,
We expecting.
yes, yes. So, in addition to Ebony playing bonus mom, stepmom to her daughter, she'll be bringing in her own biological child to the family.
Yes.
So, I think that's also pretty cool and kind of changes the dynamics,
It does.
especially being that this will be her sibling
Yes.
biologically as well. So, I mean,
Yes.
even with that, like, I don't, we didn't really talk about, I don't know, well, you did touch on it about the relationship with her mom, biologically
Uh-huh.
too, but I'll bring that up in a second. But, but yeah, so blended family. So how has that been? And like, how was that even telling your daughter Like,
Oh,
have a
well, I
baby.
want you all to join me at Living My Step Life on IG because I plan to blog about that. But I'll give
Okay.
you, just because this is the Boss Mom Movement podcast, I'll give you a little bit of an exclusive. One thing I can say is that I try to make sure that we are a unit. I really do. I do my very absolute best to make sure we are unified and that we're together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told her we were expecting, I did ask her to, I wanted it to just be the three of us that knew because I thought it would just be fun for just the three of us to have our own secret. And I told her very shortly after it was confirmed, so that way she was in the know from the beginning. And I tried to make her a part of this journey as well. Um, I'm a part of a couple of stepmom groups, and I see that there are a lot of step parents that are, they feel like, well, this is my child. I kind of want to do things my way. I don't want to have to include my stepchild. I don't want to have to because including your stepchild means you include their parent.
Okay.
And sometimes that can get messy, and I completely agree with that. But it was important for me to include her. So I allowed her to create the gender reveal. I took her to the store and I let her create the registry. So she created one store registry. And I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do the other registries, but I just wanted to get her excited because her being excited means that she's going to be more involved and she can own that role of being a big sister and not feel like my dad and his wife are having a baby versus we're having a baby.
Yep, I was just about to say one thing you wouldn't want to do is make her feel excluded. Like, okay, I was once a part of this family, but now you all have your own baby. So now I'm over here, especially if she's living there. I mean, you all are family. Yeah, that can
Exactly. And so I try to we downloaded the apps. We all have the mom apps, and every time the weeks change, I say, hey, guess what week I am now? How many weeks I am? Of course, she knows. And I'm dealing with the preteen, so I mean, she has her emotional moments, or some days she's into it and some days she's not. And I don't hold it against her. If she's into it that day, that's great. And if she's not today, she'll come back to it. I show her where the apps are. She goes on my phone and she'll look up oh man, I see the videos. This is what the baby looks like. And I try to create it and make it her experience just as much as it is mine.
Yeah, because I think one thing as a child too, like going into these step relationships, they have those feelings. Number one, is my parent gonna be taken away from me by the spouse, with or without kids in the equation? Or, okay, now there's a baby in the situation, so now they're gonna go live their life without me. And so I think that that's very cool and genuine that you are reaching out to her and making sure that she does feel included in the process, because I'm sure that will alleviate any negative thoughts, that may have crossed her mind. While initially told her about the baby, and so, I mean, she's preteen. She probably going through whatever emotions anyways.
Oh my God.
Regardless of the situation. I just remember those days. It's like I'm mad for no reason today.
Oh, don't you? Yeah.
But I think that is good. There's something you mentioned about and within the groups, people not wanting to share or feeling like they have to share with the parent too. That's interesting that you say that. So I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit. Like, why do you feel like you have to share that, I guess, with the biological parent?
Think about it like this, Ashley. When a child has parents who are not married, their goal is to try to get their parents back together. And they don't understand, right? They don't understand no, it's no way we're getting back together. But all they know is they have a mom and a dad whom they love, and they want both of them to come together so they can have a family. Well, think about it as a stepchild. There's no way if that one biological parent is married. Well, they can't get the parents together anymore.
Right.
So the only other way to create that family unit is to include the other parent into everything that's going on. And so that way there is a family unit. Yep. And they don't understand. Yeah, they don't understand it. There could be some other situations going on with the adults.
Yeah.
They're not aware of that. And all they want to do is create family. That's all they want to do. And so as a step parent, depending on the relationship that you have with the biological parent, that could be very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It could be very violating. I mean, think about it, Ashley. You don't have to share your household. You don't have to share your business. You don't have to, try to keep certain things from your son, even though he's not born yet. But you don't have to keep certain things from him to keep him from going back to telling someone else. Yeah. So imagine living a life like that. It becomes very exhausting. It's daunting. You just want your experience. Yeah. You want your experience to be your experience, and it's not shared with somebody that you don't have a relationship with.
Right.
But with stepchildren, you do have a relationship with them through your stepchild.
Yeah.
And
that is
and so and you have to think about all the different dynamics and all the relationships that some step parents have with their stepchildren too.
Yeah. Which is why I feel like, granted, I know everybody's situation is different, but I always felt like, because now I'm at the age too where me and my friends, I mean, I'm not dating anyone with kids, but some people I know are, and so we have these conversations where I ask, I'm like, so you got a relationship with the mom? Like, how is that? Because I did kind of briefly date someone that had 2 kids, and it didn't really go far. Like, I never met the kids or anything like that, but just thinking about it, I'm like, oh, okay. How is this going to be? Because like you say, you really don't want to have a negative relationship. I mean, that's just added on stress, honestly, that nobody needs. But of course, there are those situations where it is stressful and it is negative. But I think it's important for the biological parents and the step parent to have some sort of relationship for the benefit of the child in my opinion,
I agree.
Just so that they have a positive light. I just hate when it's like a negative situation and it affects the kid, and their experience is tainted because they're being forced to choose sides, or it's just so messy to me. I can't stand it, even though I know it happens. But I see that point of view of saying, like, some things you just want to be able to keep to yourself and your household, and it's kind of hard to, I guess, have that line, of course, because then it's kind of like you're asking a kid, hey, keep this secret from your parent.
Yes, exactly. And then you feel bad when you ask that, because it's not that you're trying to tell them to keep secrets or not, not let their biological parent in, but there's just some things you just like, heck, I don't want anyone that I didn't tell to know that I'm pregnant. That's just what it is.
Yeah. And especially if, and I'm not saying that you all don't, but especially if you don't have a relationship with that parent, it's kind of like, I don't really need them to know what's going on over here with me.
Exactly.
Like, if it's not something that I would voluntarily tell them, I mean, they can find out when everybody else right. So no, I definitely can understand that, and that's just
and those secret thoughts that I tell you that step parents have that they're afraid to speak out on, because it's like it's so petty. It's so petty. I mean, I feel bad that I'm asking her, don't tell, but then I don't feel bad because
I mean,
I
at the
don't
end of the
want,
day,
yeah,
it is your
I
business now. It is your business. Like, you can't really, I mean, if I want to say, don't feel bad for that, you know. So, I
don't,
do,
yeah.
I honestly do feel like that, you know. I wouldn't. I mean, just, and I don't know the dynamics, but still, like, I definitely understand. It's just like with any other
Yeah,
thing. Like when I got pregnant, I mean, we started off by just telling our family and close
exactly.
friends, you know. So I mean,
Exactly.
it's still kind of like the same thing. Like
It
step
is.
parent is not family necessarily, and close
Yeah.
friends to you anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like depending,
And
again, because some
can
people
you,
do have those
yeah,
relationships where they
yeah.
hang out with this, that, you know what I'm saying? Which
And
is
I love those. I think those are great. I think those are awesome. I
right.
support it. You know, not everyone is there yet,
Hmm.
and that's okay. But can you imagine with even that insight of just how you felt about your pregnancy and when you first found out, you really just wanted a very small amount of people to know.
Hmm.
But then you also want to share with your stepchild, but then you're afraid of who are they going to tell. So
Right.
imagine that's just with pregnancy. Imagine if this was everything in life. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's tough.
it becomes just, you have to have those tough conversations of,
Yeah.
hey, this is what we do at this house.
Hmm.
It's okay that you do that at the other house, but at this house, this is
Yeah.
how we show, love or concern, or maybe there's things that we don't discuss other people's business,
Right.
and I don't allow her to come and tell me the things that happen at her mom's house. I
Right.
don't I don't allow that. And now I don't know if that's being done there, and that's none of my business. But
Right.
I just try to set that example, and my husband and I both, we try to set that example where we don't do that.
Yeah. And that's good. Cut down
Mhm.
on, drama and just
Yeah.
I mean it's also one of those things too, regardless outside of step parenting. What our moms would say, what happens in this house stays in this house
Hmm.
type of thing. So yeah, I mean, I would equate that to that because you don't want to. I mean, you definitely have to set those boundaries, and you don't want any messy lines and just creating more because kids like to talk too a lot. So they'll be saying stuff that it'd be like, excuse me, we're not supposed to leave this house with that information, but or vice versa. So I'm
Okay.
pretty, I'm sure that her mom, appreciates that y'all keep that, set that line because not
Yeah.
everyone does. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think that's
Agreed.
so special that you all, that you have a great relationship with your stepdaughter, but your daughter, will say,
Yes.
and that you all are bringing together your blended families and it's working out
Yes.
positively. And I'm sure she enjoys being a part of this process with you all, and will enjoy it even better once the baby comes and she's a big sister
Yes.
and has somebody to boss around. I know the feeling. I never got that opportunity. I'm like, just have one little kid. But
Oh
only
no.
sometimes I felt like that because I really did enjoy being just being by myself because I got everything. Yeah,
Really?
I'm like, I was spoiled.
I I see, and I have two younger sisters, and I love it. Being a big sister to me was everything. That helped shape me into who I was. I mean, literally, I would let them sleep in the bed with me every night. I would wake up in the middle of the night and help take care of them. So,
See, and now even though I say I enjoy my experience, but I do want my son to have at least one sibling. So, I'm willing to go another round or two to
oh,
have a
oh
natural
no,
three.
I'm not. This
But
sibling better get all they can with they big sister, because it's not happening.
but at least, she at least, well, I'm saying she, at least the baby, I don't even know if it's a
Oh,
girl. Look, I don't even know if it's a girl. That just rolled off. But look, that might be a sign. But, at least he or she will have your daughter, even though not biological, but that's their biological sibling.
Yeah.
So they'll have that experience even if you decide not to have any more kids. I know just for me, I was like, once I got to a certain age, I was just like, whatever. I got cousins. Like, but I definitely want my son. Give me a few years. He'll have a sibling.
Exactly.
I
Wow.
I do sometimes envy those brother-sister relationships because I didn't have it. But it's all good. I'm grown now, so.
Yeah, now that's what you have your line sisters for and your friends.
And I treat them like real siblings and my close cousins. So it's all good. But I appreciate you so much. I loved this conversation.
I loved it too.
And I wish you the best. Me and Ebony keep up with each other in pregnancies, and I just tell her all my experiences so far that I've had, and but I think you're gonna be a great mother. I love the foundation that you all have set already, and bringing your child into your family. So I just wish you the best with your pregnancy. I wish you the best with your continued relationship with your daughter. You're doing a great job from what I can see anyway. I think you're so funny. Tiptoeing into the situation, but you have, 3 years down the line and it seemed like you got it. I'm sure there'll be some more learning curves along the way, but you and your husband seem like y'all have a great foundation, and I think that is definitely important for any step parent situation, is to have that great foundation with your spouse as you all are parenting the child. So again, if you want to tell the listeners your Instagram so they can follow you and look at those blogs.
Yes, well, you can visit the blog website at www.livingmysteplife.com, and please feel free to follow me on IG at Living My Step Life. Thank you again so much, Ashley, for inviting me on to the Boss Mom movement. I think this is an amazing podcast, and it's just such needed and so needed in our generation. And congratulations to you. Oh man, and you're setting such a great example for your son and modeling the type of wife, even at an early age. He's not even born, but he already has an example of the type of wife and the type of life that he can live. Everything is possible. So you're doing a great job.
Thank you. And as always, ladies, stay motivated and stay bossy. And until next time, have a great week.
The Boss Mom Movement podcast can be found on Apple and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, and Spotify. Make sure you subscribe and tune in every Sunday.